I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of all the lands on which we meet today and to pay my respects to their elders, past and present. Today, 20 January 2023, is a very important day for human rights in Australia. Today marks the formal commencement of Australia's obligations under the Optional Protocol to the Convention Against Torture, or OPCAT. OPCAT is an international agreement aimed at preventing torture and other mistreatment of people who have been deprived of their liberty. By signing up to OPCAT, Australia agreed to establish an independent National Preventive Mechanism, or NPM, to conduct preventive visits to all places where people are deprived of their liberty, for example jails, youth detention centres and immigration detention centres, and also to allow visits to these places by the United Nations Subcommittee on Prevention of Torture. Australia's NPM is a network of federal, state and territory bodies responsible for visiting places of detention in their own jurisdiction. NPMs have been nominated or announced by the governments of Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania, South Australia, the ACT and the Northern Territory. We include inspectors of custodial facilities, ombudsmen, official visitors, and human rights and children's commissioners. My office is the NPM for Commonwealth places of detention, which includes immigration detention. I'm also the National Coordinator for Australia's NPM bodies. While each NPM body is an independent body, my office facilitates collaboration between the NPM bodies to assist us to collectively fulfil our mandate under OPCAT. We have different responsibilities, backgrounds and experience which support us to conduct preventive visits and to consider systemic issues that increase the risk of torture or ill treatment. We make recommendations for improving the treatment and conditions of people in detention. We work with governments and detaining authorities to achieve this. I hope to welcome NPMs from Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland to the network. The NPM network has already been hard at work. We've shared information and best practice. We've joined each other's visits to different detention environments to learn from each other. We've begun applying an OPCAT lens to our visits and reports. We've released joint statements and made submissions on legislation in Australia that's relevant to OPCAT. While progress has been made towards OPCAT implementation in Australia, there is still work to be done. Australia's detention system is not perfect. There are improvements that are urgently needed, particularly around the treatment of very vulnerable people, such as children, First Nations people, and people with disabilities. Establishing a network of NPM bodies is an important step towards making these improvements, but we will each need strong legislative powers and adequate resourcing if we are to be fully effective. We look forward to working with all jurisdictions, with governments and with civil society to advance OPCAT implementation in Australia. Thank you.